What's up guys, and welcome to part 12 of tutorial series on AWS audio analysis. In the previous tutorial we have successfully created the metadata table using AWS Glue service, and now in this tutorial I am going to cover a high level overview of Amazon Athena service. So if we look at the architecture diagram, then we have covered till AWS Glue, and now in this tutorial we are taking a step further to Amazon Athena. So, what exactly Amazon Athena is? So, the simple definition of Amazon Athena is that it is a query service that enable us to query the data stored in S3 bucket using standard SQL. So, moving along, we will jump to the AWS Management Console and navigate to Athena console. Now this is how the Amazon Athena console looks like. Correct. So I will start with query editor with the left panel. So we have the first option as database. So here we have list of database, and we can also see the database that we have created in the previous tutorial, right? So whichever database we create in AWS Glue, it's going to reflect over here. Correct. So moving along, then we have filter tables and view. So we can put in some keywords and filter out certain tables and views. Then we have table. Here we have an option for create table. So Amazon Athena allows us to create a table by 4 ways, as you can see on my screen. So the first option is create table from S3 bucket data. So creating a table with the first option is similar to creating a table in AWS Glue manually. So that is something I had shown you or covered in the previous tutorial, correct? So over there we have to define the classification manually, we have to define columns manually, and same goes for the first option on Amazon Athena itself. Correct. So that is create table from S3 bucket data. Then we have second option, create table from AWS Glue's crawler, and we had used this option to populate our table, to populate or create our metadata table, right? Again, that is being covered in the earlier tutorials. And finally, we have SQL templates. It's like writing a create table query using create table or create table as select. So you can even create a metadata table right from Athena console itself. Right. So now you might ask that if we are able to create the table from Athena console, then why you have used AWS Glue service to create the metadata table? So the reason is that I wanted the crawler to determine the schema or structure of my data, correct? So for example, if we have a simple structure, right, then it's good. It makes sense to create the table manually. But in case if we have CSVs or JSONs which are complex, then I think crawler is the best option or the best suitable option to determine the structure and come up with the schema, and then later on we can edit that schema as per our requirement in case crawler have messed up somewhere, right? And I think at some point it's far more better, faster and accurate than creating the table manually. So that's why I preferred AWS Glue for metadata table creation. Correct. So moving along. So here we can also see the table that is being created by crawler in the previous tutorial. And then we have views. So obviously we can create a view and run it. Correct. Now coming to the right panel, here we have query console. Here we can write a query, select star from XYZ table, and then we can run it and we can see the results over here. In case if you are running a complex query and you don't want to end up writing it again and again, then there is an option to save that query, right? So once you save the query, it will be listed over here within the saved queries column, correct? So once you save it, it will be populated over here. Then you can, if you want to delete, you can just search it, select it, and delete the query. Correct. Now coming to the next step, that is history. So I think it's self-explanatory. Whichever queries we run is stored or will be populated over here as in history, and it also gives some high-level analytics or insights, I would say, like runtime, data scanned, and you can also download the results, and you can determine the state that whether it succeed or it's failing somewhere. Correct. So now the next comes the AWS Glue data catalog. If I click on this option, it will redirect me to AWS Glue console. Correct. And here, as usual, we had gone through this console earlier. So here we have list of tables. This is something that is created in the previous tutorial. Correct. So moving back to Athena console. And then finally we have work group. So work group is something that is added this year in February. So it is useful to separate users, as you can see here, separate users, teams, applications, or workloads, right? And we can also set up a limit on the amount of data for each query or entire group can process. And apart from that, one can also access query related metric data in AWS CloudWatch. So that's a work group at high level. So in short, it's like grouping team members into a single work group that are working on XYZ application, for example. Correct. So this is high level overview of console of Athena. So ideally, Amazon Athena works with number of formats like CSV, JSON, Avro, ORC, and one of the key benefits is that it is serverless, of course. So we don't have to set up or worry about setting up or manage any infrastructure. Hence we can start querying or analyzing the data immediately. Correct. So we can go ahead and just write the query and run that query, and we will have the results populated below. And one more thing, I want you to take note of that we are using AWS Glue to create the metadata table, and we cannot view data or records in AWS Glue, right? So to view or query the data, we will use Amazon Athena, right? So just to show you an example, I will jump to Glue console. I will select a table which I have already selected. I'll go to actions, and if I say view data, then it's going to redirect me to the Amazon Athena. So as you can see in the message, you will be taken to Athena to preview data, and you will be charged separately for Athena queries. Correct. So we cannot view data in Glue console. Correct. Directly. So we will use Amazon Athena to view the data. So, and that is something we are going to cover in the next tutorial. So as I said, in the next tutorial I will cover on querying the data stored in S3 using standard SQL. Right. So we are going to query that JSON file that is sitting inside our AWS audio analysis comprehend S3 bucket. Correct. So that's it for now. And as usual, if you want me to do tutorial on any use case or service, then please leave them below, and I will try my best to come up with the tutorial as soon as possible. And if you have any queries or comments, then please leave them below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and see you next time.